What's up, everybody? So this video is really just gonna kind of talk about what we're about, and who we are at the Orion Way. So my name is Scott Carter. I'm one of the co-founders of the Orion Way. Um, I'm a licensed therapist. I work in private practice, and honestly, I've kind of been doing this manosphere, this men's work thing for about a decade. Started going to No More Mr. Nice Guy. It was a men's group, local men's group here in the Salt Lake City area about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. And just sort of went down that rabbit hole, saw the great need, the dire need for guys to be a lot more confident and bold, and how so many of them are lost. And in case you're not familiar with No More Mr. Nice Guy, this is a good book for guys if you feel like you're a nice guy. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, can't they be nicer in the title? No, that's the point. I feel like the title's a little mean. I've heard people say that. Can we be a little nicer with the title? No, you don't. No, you don't understand the point. People might be offended. Well, that's their fucking problem. So, I don't know, it was probably a year or so ago. I was talking to one of my friends who currently runs No More Mr. Nice Guy. We were talking about the need for, we wanted to create kind of an online community. There are other guys online that are sort of doing this type of thing. We've got an online community thing going because, I mean, we are at critical mass in terms of how males are doing. I'm a therapist that works primarily with teenagers. I've worked with teen boys in the past and seen their rapid deterioration, especially in the last 4 years or so. I've worked in public high schools, and I've watched how badly boys are doing and how so many of them don't have good father figures whatsoever. They are completely lacking good father figures or good role models for how to be males. And I'm watching them fail out of school, failure to launch. They don't graduate, they drop out. They're chronically addicted to drugs and video games. They're addicted to porn. They grow up. They fail to launch. They become chronically incarcerated, chronically addicted, chronically homeless, and frankly, a lot of them are committing suicide. We have a lot of you that are watching this already going to know that we have a modern epidemic of male suicide. Here in my local area, Salt Lake City area has seen like this dramatic, like staggering spike in teen suicide. Just it's really bad. It probably the last 3 to 4 years, with 80% of those completed suicides are boys. I even had a therapist kind of push back on me on this, and frankly, I would have tore into her if she wasn't so hot. She's total babe, and I'm like, okay, but because she's like, well, girls attempt more, and I'm like, okay, but I've seen girls that have overdosed on melatonin or these superficial scratches, and because they want attention, and there's nothing wrong with wanting attention or needing attention. We should give it to them. If girls are doing this because they want attention, then for God's sake, let's give them some attention. They need it. It's one of their needs. But don't tell me that girls attempt more when they're overdosing on melatonin. Come on now. Anyway, so at the Orion Way, well, what we decided to do is we wanted to create an online community, but we also wanted to create something a little bit more comprehensive. And so we are wanting to not just provide an online community for guys, but also a lot of the material and content that they need to grow up, become men, have confidence, engage in their own rite of passage, find their identity and their purpose and their passion in life. And so that's really what we're about here. So we recruited Anthony. So the two original founders are myself and his name is Adil George. He's a good friend of mine. He's from Pakistan. And we recruited Anthony because we wanted someone to help us with the media end of things. He's my co-host for the podcast, so check out our podcast. And we just talk about issues that men are facing and modern issues and helping guys find their own voice and their own confidence and all that stuff. And so I'm kind of shooting these videos as we're still building a platform and building the audience. But we've been doing this men's work thing for close to a decade. I helped Adil run this No More Mr. Nice Guy for a few years. We saw everything under the sun when it comes to this men's group, especially nice guys who get involved with borderline women who have borderline personality disorder. We see that a lot, but we have a ton of experience. Just we've gone through so much material, manosphere material, and ran these groups for so many years that we just are like, man, it's time for us to kind of create our own space and see if we can provide some guidance and some leadership on that. So this is just a quick video to talk about what we're about at the Orion Way. So I'll tell you what I'm currently working on. I mean, I write most of the content. I do a lot of articles, and right now I'm working on our confidence field guide. After that, we're going to be working on other field guides like rites of passage, stoicism, and things like that. So make sure you check us out, like and subscribe. Get on with this movement. It's time for a change. Guys, we can't just sit here at our computers and complain on the internet anymore. It's not working. We must take a bolder stance. We must create some changes. Sitting behind a keyboard and complaining is not cutting it. Enough with the red pill rage. It's time for some action. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Right there, that's our logo. I like to play with spray paint, so I made that one. I think it's kind of cool. So, again, you know what to do. And thanks for watching. We will see you next time.